evaluated and everything. They can't see me again for another couple weeks, but they gave me some exercises. So they're things that they discovered during the evaluation is that my hips are very tight, which most runners do have tight hips, so that wasn't surprising. Apparently I have a little bit of a leg length discrepancy, which could be contributing to the knee thing. So they gave me a little bit of a lift for my right shoe, because I guess my right leg is just slightly shorter than my left leg. So we did that. And home exercises. Yes. Oh, and then they said that my running biomechanics were a little off too. So try to work on the pointers that they gave me for how I run, which is so hard to do. But we'll try. So I told them, I said that just using that pre-wrap as a patellar strap on the 20-mile run made a world of difference, it seemed. So I think this is just a little maintenance to get me through Memphis, and we'll be good to go. All right, let's go do some at-home exercises. Happy Saturday morning. It is quite foggy here where I am. I am heading out to just do a recovery 6 miles. And it's funny, I'm kind of over the training, but also, I'm excited to just have 6 miles. Shouldn't take me more than, just over an hour to do, which is great. So as I mentioned before, the physical therapist gave me a little lift to put in my right shoe. And so I've done walking, a little bit of treadmill running with it. And not to be unexpected, my foot's like, why is there a weird thing in my shoe? So it was a little sore. So the 6 mile run should be very telling as to whether the lift is helping or gonna hurt, for an even longer distance, like, hey, 23 miles next week. So yes, this will be very, very interesting. And even the physical therapist said, like, even if it feels okay today and I go for 23 next week and it starts to bother me, I just have to stop and take it out of my shoe, stick it in my pocket. Not a big deal. But they said that once they put the lift in my shoe and put me back on the treadmill, it seemed to help my gait and running form a little bit. So I don't know. My husband was not super excited about me running with a lift. He hasn't had a whole lot of good experience in his athletic training days with lifts. So, all right. So I don't know how much I'll actually put on video for this run since it's so foggy, but I'll check in, let you know how everything's feeling. Okay, 6 miles done. 10:07 pace. I wanted to push a little bit. It's just 6 miles, But it still feel good. I could keep going, which is great. The insert in my shoe didn't bother me. Really, like right now, walking back to my car, I almost can't tell it's there. So that's kind of what it's been all week, is when I first put my shoes on, I can tell there's an insert in there. You can just tell there's an extra layer. And as each mile passed for this run, my foot got more and more used to it, and really sensory can't really tell as much. So I think pending the other simulation days, which PS, guess what happens next week? The 3rd in a row simulation day, which actually ends up being 4 days in a row if you look at how the plan's written, because you got your 45-minute, then 4, then 10, then 23. So it's really the true test of Dopey, 4 days of activity in a row. But pending those 45, 4, and 10, we'll see, with extending time on my feet and distance. That'll be the true. If I don't have any problems, I'll try the 23 and see what happens. But it felt good. Obviously, you saw not a whole lot of video. It's just, and the fog hasn't cleared yet, and it's let's see, it's got to be after 10 o'clock now. It's just going to be a super foggy day, I think, for a little bit. So we're going to go home. We're going to take the tendon band off and all that, and we'll do our strengthening and rehab exercises, and we'll close out this week. All right, so I'll share some of the rehab things that my dog got a hold of. So obviously, since I have tight hips, they said I should really stretch more. Hi, Sades. I figured she'd walk into frame at some point. Okay, so I've been really trying to stretch a lot more before, after runs, just even in the middle of the day if I'm here and I got, I've just finished doing laundry or something and I got a moment, I'll lay down and stretch out my hips, do all the things, figure 4, just try to keep my hips nice and loose. It feels good, So, and I've done this exercise. Sorry, my face is out of frame. But clamshell with a TheraBand. That one right there. So you take the TheraBand, put it around your knees, do this, and you will feel it in your rear end. Won't you say, babe? Okay. So next is prone hip extension with my knee bent. So you lay on your stomach, legs are bent, which you can't see in the frame, and then you just extend like you're pushing your foot up to the ceiling. Also, you will feel this. Now, single leg bridge. So you lay on your back like so, extend one leg, push through this heel. And then last but not least is airplanes, which I had never done this exercise before. But you stand on one leg, you hinge at the hips, and you rotate out and the other way. You feel that on your weight-bearing leg in the rear end. And that's it. It took me, obviously video time was quicker because I'll edit, but it's going at 8 minutes right now, all of that. Wrapping up week 20. Cannot believe we're in the 20 something weeks now. I think week 20 puts us officially 8 weeks away from marathon weekend. And for me, 3 weeks from St. Jude. So I cannot believe where we are. It's amazing. So we're in chapter 19 of the book, which is called Fearless, which is a very interesting chapter to be on at this point because I'm starting to feel nervous, scared, even though, I've felt pretty good the last couple of long runs as far as like being able to finish despite any pain or any injuries, but still every once in a while I just get too much in my head about it. But this is an interesting topic because I have a different way of wording, I think, what Ryan Hall is trying to say, which I'll share. But so he says in here, his wife Sarah, Sarah's advice to be bold comes from Joshua chapter 1, 6-7, which says, "Be strong and courageous, for you shall give this people possession of the land, which I swore to their fathers to give to them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right or the left, so that you may have success wherever you go." And so, he talks about different moments in his career where, he learned to have this fearlessness. It definitely wasn't just something that came naturally. And he says, "Looking back at my career, I think it was my fearlessness that set me apart as a runner. In a time when runners of European descent were usually afraid to mix it up with the East Africans who were dominating the marathon, I wasn't afraid to run with the best guys in the world for a number of reasons, one of which was I was okay with failure. I felt free to take big big risks because my performances no longer defined my worth. I realized that my worth came from how God saw me, not how I performed. And he also says, playing it conservatively isn't the opposite of risk. Fear is. Only if we can live without fear can we perform at our very best. Fear has always made me feel heavy and tight. Whenever I was running out of fear, I felt locked up and nothing good ever came from it. I knew I needed to overcome fear, and I did it by discovering who I was and learning where my value came from apart from running. This is another reason experiencing failure can be so important. It breaks the fear associated with it. And I do agree with that last statement. However many weeks ago when everything started, my foot was bothering me, my knee was bothering me, and I wasn't happy with that. I think my pace was like a 12:30 that day over the 13 miles on my street or something. It was much slower than I was wanting, which I usually run slower on my street anyway, just because it is so up and down. But sitting here now, even if that is what happens on race day in St. Jude, and that obviously, I go way slower at Disney because I want to stop and do characters and want to walk and enjoy the environment, it's going to be okay. If I don't run a sub 5, I'm still getting the absolutely wonderful experience of running for St. Jude and running through Memphis. And so, having those disappointing longer runs, it's gonna be okay. I'm going to be able to finish. It just, under 5 hours it may not be what's gonna happen. I certainly still hope, and I will give it my best shot, but it's okay if it doesn't. And I think that's what he's kind of saying there. It breaks the fear associated with maybe not reaching a particular goal. Now, the thing that I would word differently, what I think he's still trying to say, is I think that you can't ever not have fear. I have written on my whiteboard, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever heard in a YouTube video that Kristen used to say. I don't know where she got it from, but a goal without an ounce of fear is just a step within a comfort zone. And so that's why I'm trying to stretch out with, when I did Goofy, and now that I'm doing Dopey. I always said I would never do Dopey. Like, I would do Goofy and that would be enough. But I want to try. Because I think between Goofy and Dopey, I think the hardest thing is just the 4 early mornings. If you can get past the waking up early 4 days in a row, if you can complete Goofy, I really think you can complete Dopey. Because it's only adding, 9 miles? A 5 and a 10K? It's only adding 9 miles. But me, I love my sleep. So the 4 mornings will be a challenge. And just the marathon in and of itself, is scaring me a little bit. Which I think a lot of us it does. So that's how I would word that differently, is I think we're always going to have a little bit of fear, but that we don't operate from that fear. Let that fear stop us from reaching out and discovering all these great things that we can do, which I think is what he's saying. Don't let the fear control your actions and keep you from doing great things. So that's what I took from this chapter this week, is just a reminder that, I'm going to be scared. There's going to be a little fear there. I'm going to be nervous. But to not let that control my attitude, my choices, to keep me from doing this. Because at this point, I've worked really hard for it. Next week, we add that third day in the simulation for Dopey. And for me, it's going to be my last long effort before I go to Memphis. And then, in total, I've got next week and then Memphis, and then it's going to be a nice, really long taper before marathon weekend, in which I have some awesome, really fun things planned that I'm super excited for. So just don't let the fear get in the way of being excited and reaching for these really awesome goals that we've set for ourselves. So that's what I took from this week. Like I just mentioned, next week, week 21, I believe it's just another shorter mileage week for most normal people, but for me, it's my second to last simulation, first simulation with a third day, and I'm having to actually move everything up a couple of days, just schedule-wise, so it'll actually be 4 days of effort in a row. It'll be a 45-minute, a 4, a 10, and 23, Monday through Thursday. So we're good. We're gonna get there. It's gonna be awesome. So I hope everyone's good. I hope everyone's enjoying cooler weather. That's one of the reasons why I moved everything up, because we're getting some massively cold temperatures that I do not want to run in, and if I can avoid it, I will. So we'll see if my plan pans out next week. Be sure to give this video a like, leave me a comment. How's your training going? Are you ready to get these last few simulations out of the way? I think I saw a post that we're something 50 something days till marathon weekend. Be sure to subscribe, 23 next week, and we got Thanksgiving coming up, got some fun things planned for Thanksgiving week as well. Always remember that you are God's masterpiece, and I'll see you next week for one of the last simulations.